having covered joins, now let's understand this concept of blending, which is nothing but do a level of summarization to match the level of detail and then do a join operation. I've already used one of it in the area on calculations. Now let's see it in much more clarity. So the data set we have is, so we have this employee leave data, which has for each employee for the date, on the date that they have taken the leave, so that it has a recent code, right? So only on the days that they have taken. And then we have employee master. So what we want to do a report is for each employee, list their name, department, and then how many leaves they've taken. A simple thing like this. So how will we do this in Tableau? So I brought the employee master here and then employee leave that is also here. So how would we do this? So we want to list basically employee names. So let's click on this. And then the leave information is here, right? So how do we do that? So if you see the common fields between the two, it's employee number. So I click on this so that it is blending it on this. And then I click on this. So now it is giving me the actual leave itself. So Zuan Diaz has 7 days of leave, since we have already done this in the calculations area. So we can verify. So this is basically leave taken is 7 days. And if we go to Craig Fox, something like 3 days. So this is all good, right? So how does Tableau do this blending? So what Tableau is doing now that we have seen joins is like this. So it's taking the first data source that you are using as the left one. And then it is doing an outer join. That means it keeps all the records from here and searches for the match using whatever you have provided as a link, 1 or 2 link fields. And then if it finds a match, it basically brings that data, right? But then since we are going from few to many, right? So for one employee on the right hand side, we could actually have number of rows. It is going to basically do an aggregation, which is the sum, right? Which is what it is doing. So it is basically taking the concept and then applying summarization. So what does it mean? Basically, it takes the right hand data set, which is this whole thing, and then it's almost convert this into this format. So it's like employee number and then number of records. It generates this report first, and then now employee number 1 to 1 is matchable with this employee number format, because there's 1 to 1 record here, right? For each record 1, it is here. So it is doing a one-on-one match. In this case, all the things are there. But if, for example, employee 3 has not taken any leave, this would be missing. That's why it's doing left join, so that we are not missing anything that we are starting, right? So how do we replicate this? So outside, so that is the process called basically the outer join, right? So now let's do this in Mastro. So we have employee master. So let's bring employee leave information. So now it's not showing me. Yeah, so now it's showing me. So let me bring employee tidy format, this one. So let's see the data. Let's summarize this quickly. So we want basically an employee number here, number of records here, this is leave taken, and then we want to basically take this and join it here, right? So employee number 2, so in this case all 10 records are matching, a perfect match. And then we could look at the output. So we see that this employee leave taken is already filled up, right? Very simple. So when we actually see something like this, what Tableau is doing, which seems like this is one of the very confusing things for many people, and then Tableau's functionality is very limited when we use blending. There are a lot of limitations. I don't even know this fully properly, so there are a number of issues that I've seen, and then they are traceable back to the fact that I use blending. And then so we can do only join in Tableau. So when we had to do something like this, we definitely needed an ETL tool or what we call the data preparation tool. From that perspective, seeing something like this, that we are summarizing and then doing things, would be very good, and it's a real use case for a data preparation tool. So where else can this be useful? So it would be useful typically in actual to budget comparison, which happens in a lot of companies. And if you're technically oriented, where you're doing many to many a times, this would be very useful also. So these are the two probably tips that I can give you for now. That is enough. And then so in the next series we will continue with the last topic, which is basically how do we take data which is formatted in a data entry format and then bring it into proper reporting format.